We could be witnessing history in the making. From New Mexico all the way to deep blue New York. Yes, I'll get to those numbers in a moment. We are seeing numbers that very few people thought possible. So, if you haven't voted yet, please get out and vote. There are still a few hours left. We can and we will win this if everyone gets out there, if we make this too big to rig. Once you're in line, they can't kick you out of line. So first up is New Mexico, just stunning numbers. This is coming from Representative John Block. Vote. According to analysis of voting performance numbers as of 9 a.m. today, election day, Republicans are so close to flipping New Mexico red, about 8,000 votes behind Democrats, but we need to show up and vote. While calling for candidates, he went to the campaign call center. I've heard a lot of Republicans are planning on voting tonight after work, 5 p.m., so please stay in line and keep voting. It's insane how close we are to flipping the state, y'all. Not only is this coming from a sitting congressman, this is also being repeated by Karl Rove. Now, Karl is not a big Trump fan. He's not a MAGA personality. In fact, he is an old school GOP, middle of the road Republican, and in some instances, he's even sounded like a never-Trumper. Well, he is saying that Trump could not only win Virginia, but could also flip New Mexico and New Hampshire as well. So Karl Rove is corroborating what Representative Block said. And by the way, you'll notice this is on Mediaite. That is the #1 headline. That is the top headline of Mediaite. And for those of you unfamiliar, Mediaite is sort of like the Drudge Report for journalists. So journalists looking for hot news stories, trying to figure out where the narrative is going, they turn to Mediaite first, and that is their #1 headline right now. So that is huge news. Next, we are turning to Duval County, Florida. This is a presidential bellwether alert. This county, Duval, has voted to the left of Georgia in every single recent U.S. presidential election. And right now, Republicans are leading by 3.1 points. Trump lost this county. So, Florida is not a swing state. It doesn't matter how big Trump wins Florida. However, it could help him win the popular vote. And a huge turnout in a red state could be an indication, could be a bellwether of turnout in other states. So this is giving us a preview. This is like an appetizer for the rest of the night to come. One more piece of information before we get to some really interesting news clips here. Pima County, Arizona. This is from Charlie Kirk, a very solid election day dropout out of Pima. 79,000 votes so far. GOP leading 31,000 to 19,000. This is huge news. And as you can see, this is not even an hour ago. I'm filming where I am. It's 3:30, and this was published 5 minutes before the top of the hour. So this is very fresh. Now, a lot of people, and some of you in the comments, have been saying, Daniel, I'm not sure if the polls are going to underestimate Trump this time. I don't know if I buy the theory of a shy Trump voter, just because, a lot of y'all have been theorizing that maybe people aren't as shy or as embarrassed to state their support for Trump. Well, that is not the case in Virginia. CNN reported that they are encountering dozens of shy, silent Trump voters who are unwilling to go on TV and announce their support for Trump.
Who said that they were planning to vote for Trump, or they had voted for Trump. However, when it came to sharing their views on camera, they didn't want to. One woman saying that she worked in the Army, her coworkers assumed she's voting Democrat. She didn't want to be on television saying that she was voting otherwise. Another woman saying she just didn't want her neighbors and friends to know that she had decided to vote Trump.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not everyone wants to be on TV, but the fact that they noticed that and then talked about it, not just in that segment, there were actually multiple segments talking about the shy Trump voters. And this is something, I try to watch mainstream media a lot because I like to see what they're talking about. I like to see the narratives that are being put out there. And I haven't, this is the first time I've ever seen this. I didn't see that in 2016 or 2020 from CNN, but it's not just CNN. The same thing is happening on MSNBC. They went to Philadelphia and they encountered a young black woman and then a group of young black women who refused to state who they're voting for. I mean, doesn't that raise a few question marks? Doesn't that make you raise your eyebrow a little bit? Take a look at this.
What brings you out today? What's your name?
I'm Krista. I just want to contribute. Hopefully make a difference.
You make up your mind? You got an hour and a half to do so if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
Are you really? Who are you voting for?
I really don't know yet.
Oh, stop it.
I don't know.
All right, everybody's got the right to privacy, and I'm going to give you yours. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I wouldn't say either if somebody put a microphone in my face in line, guys.
I doubt that, actually. If you were not, I think you take the mic, and I think you give them all your thoughts. Hey, AJ.
Maybe they want to say. You guys want to say who you're voting for?
No.
See, I told you. It's just a random guy thing.
Just really interesting, really interesting. Well, Kamala is working the phones today. She stopped by a campaign center, a call center, and supposedly called a swing voter. But just like everything else in her campaign, this was fake. This was staged. So take a look at her phone when she removes it from her face.
How you doing? Have you voted already? You did? Thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, it's so important that everybody participates.
Okay, for those of you who couldn't hear it, because so the clip itself, I'm only hearing her voice out of my left side. So I know sometimes when I find video clips where the audio isn't coming out of both monitors, that some people have trouble hearing it. So in case you didn't hear it, she's asking the person if they voted yet, and the person supposedly says, "Yes, I did," and then Kamala says, "Thank you." There's just one problem. Take a look at this. When she removes the phone from her face, it's on camera mode. That means she's not actually on the phone. She has her camera app open. And then if you look at the very top, this is an iPhone. I have an iPhone. There's, when you're on the phone, there's a little green icon and a timer that tells you how long you've been on the call. There's nothing there. She just has her camera app open. There was no phone call made. This was totally fake. Just totally staged, totally lame. Well, J.D. Vance, in the closing days of this campaign, went to New Hampshire, and one of you actually said in the comments, I really hope he brings out Lily Tang Williams. And a few of you really fell in love with her. I was reading the comments. And so for those of you who missed it, she is running for New Hampshire District 2. She is a legal immigrant from communist China, and her whole thing is, I know what an oversized government can do. I know the dangers of communism. I am here in America, and I see the dangers of the Democrat Party and how they flirt with all the isms, communism, Marxism, etc. And she says, I want to preserve that. That's why I'm running as a Republican. Well, she posted an update today, and apparently her campaign is noting that they also are seeing historic turnout in New Hampshire District 2.
Record turnout in my hometown of Ware today. Amazing. I've never seen line this long. I just voted. Yes, yeah.
On top of that, NBC is actually starting to reveal, they've counted votes and they're already publishing this on NBC's website. New Hampshire House District 2, Lily Tang Williams, 2 votes. Maggie Goodlander, 4 votes. Maggie, by the way, is the wife of National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Still very early, of course, but New Hampshire 2, something to keep track of. J.D. Vance invited her to his rally and she spoke there as well. Now, because y'all fell in love with her during that debate clip, which is going viral, I wanted to show you something. So David Hogg, for those of you who forgot, David Hogg survived the Parkland shooting, I believe, down in Florida, and he has been a gun control advocate, anti-Second Amendment. He has been, just going off the deep end. Well, Lily Tang Williams actually showed up at one of his events and debated him and lectured him in front of an entire auditorium. I thought this was amazing.
My name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my Live Free or Die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the U.S., in D.C., will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of CCP.
Now, she is 100% correct on that. Now, back to election-related news. There is a promising sign coming out of New Hampshire. So again, Karl Rove saying that New Hampshire, New Mexico, and Virginia are in play for Trump. Well, Dixville Notch is a very small town. They have a handful of people who vote every year, ranging usually between 5 and 6 people voting. And they actually resulted in a tie this time. 3 people voted for Trump, 3 people voted for Kamala. And the media is completely missing the point on this. Let me show you this clip first, and then I'll explain.
Hey, we ready for president?
Let's listen.
3
for
for Kamala
moments.
Harris, 3 for Donald Trump. Following the national trends. For governor, 1 for Joyce Craig and 5 for
New Hampshire. The first in the nation ballots cast on Election Day. It is now official in Dixville Notch. A tie. 3 votes for former President Donald Trump. 3 votes for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, so the media and the Democrats are trying to spin this as, oh, it's going to be super tight tonight. This is reflective of the larger electorate. But that's not necessarily true. At least that's not what I'm taking away from it. In 2020, Dixville Notch voted unanimously, all 5 votes for Joe Biden. And then this year in the primaries, all 6 of those voters voted for Nikki Haley. She swept it. So the fact that it actually split 50-50 is a huge improvement for Trump, which again suggests, hey, maybe he's improving nationwide. Maybe he's improving not just in red states, but in swing states, and indeed could win the popular vote, just as some polls have been projecting, as well as the Electoral College. Last but not least, as far as election updates are concerned, Elise Stefanik from New York posted this 3 days ago. New York is in play. President Trump is polling ahead in New York swing districts where Joe Biden won by 15 points in some cases. I urge all New Yorkers to get out and vote early in person to elect all of our incredible New York GOP candidates on our ballot. But that's not all. She actually updated, so that was her last tweet until today. And today she posted this midday New York update. Some key facts: New York Republicans beat the Republican-Democrat early vote margins by nearly 50% in our favor in key competitive congressional races compared to 2022. As of 12 p.m. today, New York Republicans are flooding the polls across New York, overperforming our numbers. Turnout in rural parts of New York is skyrocketing. We must keep it up, and every Republican needs to get out and vote today. If you haven't already, please vote. Be a force multiplier. Force your friends and family to come with you. Do not take anything for granted. Even if you think you live in a blue state, please, please, please get out and vote. 2 more video clips before we wrap this up. Number 1 is coming from MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell, and she is lecturing us about men and young black men. It's almost as if they've accepted a loss. We don't want to count our chickens, our chicks, before they hatch, right? We don't want to take anything for granted. But it's almost as if they're beginning to point fingers. They're almost beginning their post-mortem before anything's even happened. I mean, take a look at this. This is MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell.
Let's talk about gender writ broadly, though. There certainly has historically been, and is there against her case for election, which will rely heavily on women and the fact that there are more women voters in the United States than men, is that running into headwinds because there are a lot of men who just simply, black and white, men who just simply don't trust a woman to be, chief executive, commander-in-chief. They just don't want to vote for a woman.
They want to blame sexism. You know what? Most men would vote for women. The vast majority. I would. If you wouldn't, if you're against the grain, let me know down in the comments below, because I'm always willing to learn and hear from other people's perspectives and points of view. But from my experience, virtually every man I know or have talked about it with would vote for a woman, but it has to be the right one. For example, I would vote for Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but I would not vote for Kamala Harris. Last but not least, despite what she's saying, there are men out there voting for Kamala, but they're voting for the worst reasons possible. Just take a look at this moment from CNN.
Who'd you vote for today?
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Why is that? I have 3 daughters, 4 children overall, and women's rights is pretty important to them and my daughters. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional about that. I didn't think that I was going to do that, but you know, just their bodies, their choice type of a mentality. You know, I want them to grow up in a world that's welcoming to everybody. So yeah, that's why I cast my vote today.
Welcoming to everybody. Well, except for babies and the unborn. But other than that, hey, the Democrats want to welcome everyone into the world. But as always, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on Election Day from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. How are you feeling about everything? You know, it's usually the floodgates open around 8 p.m. Eastern time, and, you know, we're just chomping at the bit. But right now, I feel like we've gotten some really good appetizers. I'm really feeling good. How are you all feeling? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't heard already, I will be live streaming tonight beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. I hope to see y'all here. I am excited. We will celebrate together, analyze together, take a look at everything together. It'll be a great time. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask, but it really does help me in the algorithm to reach more viewers like you. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.